Established in 1959, the Kenyan section of the International Commission of Jurists, ICJ Kenya, is a non-partisan, non-governmental organization with membership drawn from legal students, the private legal profession and the judiciary. The organization works to promote and protect human rights, democracy and the rule of law nationally and regionally. It has established a consistent track record in this regard and is today widely acknowledged as a premier human rights organization in Kenya and around Africa.
ICJ's strategy has been around increasing public information about rights and ensuring that the public understands that rights are entitlements, they are not favors.
ICJ Kenya aims to serve its beneficiaries by improving the protection of their human rights, access to justice, citizen empowerment, and the justice systems and institutions in Africa. This is achieved through advocacy, legal research and analysis, capacity building, and impact litigation. ICJ Kenya has established a number of network relationships through which it seeks to carry out its mandate. The categories of ICJ Kenya's partners include donors, government departments, and individual civil society partners, both local and international, as well as grassroots organizations across Kenya. The organization also invests in its network with key stakeholders and maintains a solid system of monitoring, evaluating, and reporting the activities carried out by its secretariat to establish best practices in international human rights in Africa. Under its democratization program, ICJ Kenya works towards the observance of democratic processes in Kenya. The program supports the work of the National Assembly, county government, and the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission to undertake and consolidate reforms that are necessary for democracy in Kenya.
ICJ is a robust civil society in this country. ICJ has been a critical body, and one of the distinguishing factor or character of ICJ is that it gives critical, progressive criticism where there's need for the civil society to really speak and point out where improvement can be made in terms of governance.
The process of elections is not complete unless it is able to deliver justice for those with complaints about how elections had been conducted. So our support was for and in relation to electoral justice, and we worked with the judiciary a lot. So supported the Judicial Committee on Elections Preparedness that had been established by the Chief Justice to ensure that they are prepared and able to deal with the end of elections that deals with electoral justice.
The program also seeks to empower citizens to participate in the democratic process through improved access to publicly held information. Under its Human Rights Protection Program, ICJ Kenya continues to advocate for improved remedies and their enforcement and equips the public with knowledge that will assist in identifying transgressions and available remedies.
Prior to the enactment or the promulgation of the Constitution in 2010, really the country didn't have a framework for public participation. But when that came into place, then it required that any piece of legislation, before it can be sent to cabinet, has to go through public participation. And ICJ was very crucial to ensure that this bill is taken around the country, to ensure that there was public participation. Yes, so that we got input from members of the public and the stakeholders.
The Access to Justice program supports reforms that have led to timely and cost-effective access to courts, other organs of the state, and alternative private arrangements concerned with the delivery of justice and the enforcement of the law. The program supports key judicial reform process and the development of alternative justice mechanism and the local application of international standards.
We have what we call the court users committees. Its membership draws around from the people who use the court. You find people who are users or consumers of justice within those courts. They're able to come and sit down and discuss what are the issues that they are facing that are making them not access justice through the courts.
ICJ Kenya also established a working relationship with the Judiciary Working Committee on Election Petitions at its inception.
The capacity building of the judicial officers to deal with the election petitions was critical. Some of the magistrates, some of the judges, they had not handled any election petitions. So training was a crucial aspect of our work as a committee. And by ICJ, getting for us the resource persons was quite crucial.
The implementation of program is coordinated by a secretariat run by the executive director, who is assisted by experienced administrative personnel. ICJ Kenya is currently in the process of implementing its strategic plan, which has set out its aspirations for the year 2011 to 2015.
By the end of the plan and even beyond, that will continue to see greater democratization, that human rights will be protected, and that the rule of law will be respected by everyone.
Through its international cooperation program, the organization supports the development of effective institutions of governance and accountability in the continent.
And right from before the post-election violence, ICJ was heavily involved in ensuring that the political and legal environment enabled the punishment of international crimes. And then in the wake of the post-election violence, ICJ was again pivotal in trying to call for sanity after the violence broke out, and trying to see if it was possible to come up with a transitional government.
As part of its effort towards capacity building on international criminal justice, ICJ Kenya has established a strategic relationship with the East African Magistrate and Judges Association.
In the process, they now work closely with the Uganda Judicial Officers Association. They work together closely with JMAT, Judges and Magistrates Association of Tanzania. They also work with the Rwandan Association of Judicial Officers.
ICJ Kenya remains committed to promoting access to justice and ensuring the observance of human rights of all persons.